a lot of the things are like that. There's spongy stuff that is very easy to gather, but it's going to have to be treated with chlorides and, strained. The different substances have to get strained through it, and it's kind of like you have to
I'm
put
going
it through
to
a
take
whole.
samples back.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
going to take
Yeah.
samples back. That's not the usual kind of samples, but I know
Right.
how to do that, and
Yeah.
I'm taking them back, and then
Excellent.
I'm sure somebody will be able to figure something out.
You'll have to put
Those younger ones are
yeah.
developing really fast.
They need food.
That's what everybody says, and maybe they, well, maybe they will figure something out.
Mm-hmm. There's you'll probably have to put some things through kind of a lutefisk process to anyway.
Makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm. But the point is that this stuff is dangerous until you do stuff like that to it. So that is that's what I'm thinking. There's a variety. I mean, there's quite a variety of different proteins and different suitable substances. I mean, in all these living things, but it's going to take work. So you're going to be gathering up samples and so forth. Another thing you will find is that there seems to be no ends to the tunnels. You could end up in, because they're not tunnels, they're crevices. So that means that you would come to an area that seems like it's a big sort of cavernous dead end or a place where the tunnel just stops. But there's a little crack right up there. And if something could get through that crack, then there's probably another complex of other crevices that are more like tunnels beyond. There just doesn't ever quite seem to be a full stop. A lot of 95% stops, though.
So there is basically no end to this. It's kind of
the whole structure. The entire
open.
Mountain is basically made of collapsed boulders. So some of them are all filled in with dirt.
Information with me too.
Yeah. So therefore, Hito will in due time come back with the other. I don't see at this point, given my concept of this place, it is not full of monsters.
Anyway, this being such an open place it's not the ideal hive, so I'm going to report to the protector annihilator.
What I suggest we do is to form teams. What I would do with my team is to go look for survivors on the way to the actual colony ship, and to bring back any additional equipment we may have lost or not gathered. And to look for survivors. Perhaps when the ship crashed, there were other stragglers left out there. And all hivers are important hivers, and we need to bring those back.
Okay, so you're thinking about doing an expedition.
I think that's probably a good idea. I had written down here, defense, shelter, resources, which I think hit a kind of found out already. So, but you can go back. Yeah, and then I had exploration, survey. But, maybe when you go back to the ship,
Well, I'll point over to those.
The hatchling is giving you very clear instructions.
Yeah, I'll point over to those the nascent annihilator protectors, and I'll say we should all take some of those. One thing that I'm actually not sure about, is how well we're able to adapt from the mulching. So, we'll gather up all the genetic material, basically, and repurpose it.
Right.
Is there a way, and I'll ask, the other hivers, for me to give a bit of myself to those to make them annihilator protectors, or at least something akin to me. Maybe there's a jelly there or something that we could feed them. Or
no, it's funny because I was thinking about that, because I was thinking, well, with the matriarch, whatever purpose she has, like a lot of times, just stealing from the insect world, obvious things, but they will produce either like a pheromone or something that other things can lick off of them to get information or nutrients or even maybe genetic materials. Either maybe have something come out or something that exudes from your skin, or that'd be kind of
well neat. I just imagine them as the jellies. Like there are different jellies for different clades of Hiver,
but I do like the idea that they need something from you. That makes a lot of sense. Hita and the Protector Annihilator were actually having this kind of policy conversation when you sort of dealt yourself in. Right? And so by this point, you're literally giving instruction. And so that was what I was kind of amused by just in observation and imagining the characters. And they were both like,
right?
What are you doing here? Right? So, but it's working. It's working. Everybody's what we were listening to what you were saying about the whole transformation stuff. And I was saying that the matriarch in her dying moments was actually producing that sort of thing for the hatchlings. And remember, you guys actually made a roll so that you could actually, make use of this without a whole bunch of nurse hivers. So yes, I think that if you want to do that if the Protector Annihilator wants to do that, you're going to have to kind of go into some sort of biochemical version of mentoring toward those particular hatchlings, which means basically, yes, getting exuding substances and perhaps even having some of the technicians do core samples on you and make use of that to produce the right stuff. So yes, that's kind of interesting and very alien and Hiver looking, I imagine. So that probably would precede any expeditions you want to make. So
well, what does everyone think about that, though? About my suggestion. Got anything to add?
It seems like a good idea. I mean, are you thinking the ones that have already developed towards being Protector Annihilators, and you're just trying to boost that innate development that they already?
Yeah, that's what he was saying.
On the road to. Yeah. Okay. No, that's cool. Like, I like to think that Hatch is, being what's happened and transpired so far, that Hatch maybe develops more eyes, maybe gets bigger wings, more of like a scout, kind of a quick, fast, very perceptive Hiver.
Excellent. So in that case, I don't see much of a role in this interaction at the moment. Everybody's making sense, and all sorts of different chemical analyses have to be done on what Hita has brought back. Some of them may be suitable for food. Some of them may not be suitable for food, but may well be full of useful compounds for other purposes. And so the technicians, this is something Hivers are really good at. So, instantly a lot of the equipment that managed to get brought and a lot of the adults in question are going to set this up, because this is important. Got to get your biochemistry right in a Hiver situation. And there's also that business about olfactory and gravitational field stuff. And I suspect that all of the Hivers are getting an amazing spatial understanding. What Hita can communicate about spatial and gravitational issues is well beyond what any human could possibly comprehend. And your means of communicating it, just as with insects communicating crazy information with their body postures, some kind of equivalent of that sort is occurring. So a lot of you, she doesn't have to draw a map in the dirt to give an idea of where she's going, right?
I'm dancing it.
Right. And everybody's getting it. Everybody's getting it really, really
dancing
well.
in quotation marks, but
And the
it's a little dance. Just a little.
She's basically moving in patterns, but
right.
think of a 3-dimensional map.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely.
Like her movement kind of draws a map in the air, and she's at the same time feeding in information by giving off sounds, smells, whatever, about what things are in those different places and what potentials there are.
I think that makes a lot of sense, and what I'd like to emphasize is how well this works across everybody. In other words, this is now shared information, right? It's shared knowledge. So that is actually quite excellent. But the next step is whether any of you want to achieve anything more here besides just preparing for that expedition.
I have a question to Jerry.
Yes.
Did Hiver Protector suggest that all of the major Hiver should prepare to transfer knowledge to some of the hatchlings?
Oh, that is probably a good idea.
Or did he just try it out in some kind of, let's see if this works?
Well, I think at this point it's a let's try it out, because we might have all of that equipment someplace, right? I mean, we are making a new hive.
Right. Well, exactly. And you've brought some of the equipment that you could transport in the immediate circumstances. Then there's the stuff that is probably ruined in the crash, but you couldn't really do a full salvage operation on the pod when you were there before.
Right.
So there may well be some equipment that is still viable there, that wasn't easily transported in the circumstances where the hatchlings were the first priority. So it is, it's now that you have a better idea of the planet, and probably as I was about to point out, that one of those catastrophic storms does strike, and it is immediately clear to everybody that nobody's going out there now. So the one of the big issues would be, if you're going to do an expedition, not to get caught in one of those. So that's one of the considerations. But okay. But if it's in terms of getting everybody all, trying to get more than just you, get other information and Hiver capacities transmitted to the hatchlings, it's doable.
Okay, then yeah, if we can do it, I know that, under when working, I'll just say, when working with a normal colony, we can produce a legion of Protector Annihilators in a few months. It might take a little longer here to produce one or two, but absolutely, whatever you need to mulch from me or to take from me, I'm willing to give for the colony.
Aha. Well, that's quite nice.
Which, by the way, that's my new the trait I wrote out, which is protect the new colony at any cost, even to his own.
Ah, yes. Okay. Well, in that case, I would like to just talk about these processes getting underway. One of the other things that comes to mind is just more and more and more compartmentalization of the available space into different functions. So now the kind of biochemical analysis area has been pragmatically designated with, Hivers who do that stuff over there. Let us have a couple more roles, though. I'm really interested in the fact that the weird matriarch-like hatchling is starting to exert pheromonal impacts on the other hatchlings, including Hatch. The question is whether you're going to get. The question is whether you're going to get brainwashed, effectively.
What?
And none of the adult Hivers seem to know this is happening. They're not picking up on the biochemistry.
Uh-oh. Are we getting ready to have a children of the dam situation going on?
It's funny Ron said that, because that's been my first action was going to be to investigate the matriarch. And
well, you go right ahead. That's the problem.
Nice.
You go up and sniff, and there's your roll.
Yeah.
Right.